Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now, this is going to be a workshop video, which I've not been doing that many of recently, but there's partly because there's not been that many sort of relevant things coming in. We wanted to do this one for a while. I've been kind of waiting for a deck to come in with specific fault, but none has. So what I've had to do is create the fault on one of my second-hand decks, and so I can just sort of talk it through. There's two variants of it, so I'll show you the first one, and then I'll cut and create the fault on the other fault on the deck, and we'll have a look at that one as well. One is extremely easy. The other one is very mysterious, and it's one that I keep forgetting how to do it. So in some ways, this is actually a recording for me to remind me how to do this, because it's a fault that doesn't crop up very often. I can only think of a handful in all the time I've been selling Regas, but it is an easy fix when you know how to do it. So let's have a look at the first fault, which is the kind of common one. This only really, well, it only applies to the early arms, and you'll see why in a sec. Okay, I'll cut across to the deck, and I'll show you how to do that one. Okay, so we've got a 1985 planer 3, and the fault is, as you can see, the tone arm, when it moves, the whole thing's moving. I mean, normally, obviously, if you release the clip and then you use it as so, or with the lifter, it would work. It kind of works fine, really, but put the clip on, and you can actually move the entire assembly. Everything's slack on it, and people get quite worried about that, and they sort of think something's broken. It surprises me actually how many decks I get in with this issue, and people haven't sort of looked further. Really, this is partly the reason for the video, really, but because basically it's very straightforward. Underneath there is quite a large. If the camera will actually resolve that, it isn't at all, because I'll turn the deck over to show you that. Actually, there's a big nut underneath. Obviously, this only applies to the earlier tone arms, so that basically all the non-3-point mount tone arms. You don't get this with the 3-point mount ones at all, but you do get the second fault I'm going to talk about. You can get with any of the arms. So yeah, basically that just needs tightening up. The thing to do is to use, I mean, I've actually got the proper Rega spanner. Tighten it up, but hold the tone arm where you want it to be, and then sort of nip it up underneath. You have to be careful I wouldn't sort of hold it here. You almost need to hold the body of it across here, because you can actually, if you put sort of a lot of sideways pressure on, they will crack down the moulding here sometimes. Some of the very early tone arms will crack down here, so you have to be careful of it. Yeah, I'll turn the deck over just to show the nut, and then we'll see if I can actually tighten it up on video. I wonder if I can do that. Could be interesting. So there we've got the deck upside down. So yeah, quite a large nut on the bottom of that, size of which I have no idea. I should have measured that, I suppose. Basically, yeah, just tweak it up with this decent sized spanner. What you don't want to do is overdo it. I mean, there are people who sort of say you should only really do these hand tight. I don't know, because basically, 6 months down the line it'll be slack again. I think it needs just a little bit more than finger tight on there, really. So let's just see if we can do that without breaking anything. Filming at the same time. Yeah, I don't know where should I put the camera? Anyway, yeah, I'll sort that one out. Okay, so you're not really seeing very much here, but basically, just to give you a bit of an idea, spanner. So we'll get the spanner located on the nut underneath. Yeah, are we located? We're not. Yeah, there we are. So you can basically turn in the nuts, moving the arm. So make sure you get it sort of straight by eye. Hold it around there if you can, and just give it a bit of a tweak. Now nice and tight. And that's literally, that is all it is. Now the second fault, like I say, this one, I can't think I've had more than 5 or 6 of these in all the years I've been dealing with Regas. It's a rare fault. But I always forget how to do it. So part of this is for me, because there's no, yeah. Let me create the fault first, and we'll come back to it, and we'll talk it through then, because it's a bit of an oddity. Okay, so the second fault, and this applies to any tone arm, any Rega tone arm, sort of, whether it's 3-point mount or the nut on the bottom, or any of them really. And what this one is, and it is rare. It's a really rare thing. This, I don't see it very often. You'll see there is a bit of movement again, and the whole assembly is moving, but sort of just within a certain area. It's got like 3-4 mil movement at this point, I'd say, something like that, and if you look closer, the actual base part here is rigid, but the assembly that holds the lift lower and the clip and everything, that's slightly slack. Obviously there's no bolts anywhere. Obviously there's these two little bolts here, but they're just this sort of end cap for the tracking weight adjuster, which you do not want to take that off because there'll be springs everywhere. You don't want to do that. Yeah, there's no obvious way into that at all, and like I say, it catches me out every time that I can't remember how to do this, because you look around it and it's like, well, there's no way in. There is no way into this tonearm to tighten this up, but there is. And what I'll do, if I can try and show this on camera, because I'm struggling to see it even with my glasses on, I'll turn the deck around and we'll see if we can actually pinpoint that to show you where it is, because it's very cleverly concealed. Anyway, let's turn the deck round and we'll have a look at that. Okay, so looking at the back of the arm, down here, and you won't be able to see it because this camera will never resolve it, there's a little circular door there. I'll just point to it with the Allen key. It's actually there. Camera work. So you won't be able to see it on there, but it's literally a little circle there. Now, I've struggled many times to find this, even with my best reading glasses on. It's virtually invisible, particularly if it's never been opened before. I mean, this one has been off a couple of times because I've taken it off and adjusted it, then messed up one of my takes. So yeah, that's been in and out a few times, so I can actually see the edge of that at the moment, but normally no. What I've done, I've taken a photograph that's nice and sort of focused on it, so you can actually see it a bit clearer what's going on with it. Now, I may have to go off camera and do this because I'm not sure I can actually do this with one hand with a Stanley knife. But the way to get in there is just to find the edge with a blade of some sort, and just see if you can just flick it out. That's it. So I don't know if you can see that, but the little door is actually just popped up there. So just need to remove that somehow. See if I can get that with it. It's unbelievably difficult to do things while you're filming at the same time. I'll just push it out that way. There you go. Try not to lose it. Okay, so that's the little door. So now we've got an Allen head showing, which is 2mm. And all you need to do is, you need to find a position with the tonearm where you've got good access to it, which is around about there. These things can going to go horribly wrong. Just get that there. Camera's gone off. There you go. Where are we? Yeah. So just tighten that down until you meet a reasonable resistance. Just being aware of the other end of the toner, because the arm's moving around a bit. Make sure it's the lift lower is in the up position, so you're not going to just take the stylus out on the platter. You better still take the platter off. So I've got a bit of resistance there. Just nip it up. That's that. It is done. Again, let's see if we can get the cover back on in one go. I'm assuming my camera work on this is terrible because I'm not actually looking at where the camera is pointing. So that's back in, and what I'll probably do is push it back down with the Allen key. No, that went really badly. I'll look at that later. Anyway, so now, totally rigid, there's no movement in it at all. So yeah, it's a bit of an oddity, that one. I don't see that very often. Like I say, I see it so infrequently I forget how to fix it. But there you go. If I forget next time one comes in, I've got a little reference from me as well as for you. Okay, so let's move the camera. Yeah, okay, so everything's done. Like I say, the bolt on the bottom it's fairly obvious, but I just thought it was worth putting it out there because there are people who brought the decks in who were sort of unaware. And the sort of loose body sort of thing, like I say, very, very rare, but it's worth having it out there just in case somebody has a problem. Yeah, that's it really. What else is going on? Oh yeah, another pink triangle. Lovely, lovely condition. This is another 40-year-old deck. Alphason HR100S tonearm, which is absolutely a gorgeous tonearm. It's probably amongst the best tonearms ever made, I think. It doesn't look much, but titanium, I think it was. So yeah, really like this one. I mean, it's coming because it sounds terrible apparently, but it's been sounding quite good so far. So I don't know whether it's a connection issue at the customer's house. I don't know. Need to just play with it a little bit more because there might be an issue on one of the phono plugs because it was playing up a little bit. But just want to run it a little bit more, see what's going on with that. Back to the Rega. That is for sale if you're looking for a really good early deck. This fully serviced, newish, very new cartridge on it actually. It's got titanium counterweight on it, which is a rarity. Tungsten counterweight. Got titanium in my head. Tungsten counterweight, which was quite an expensive option actually later. Originally, this would have come with it originally, because in the early days they did. But when tungsten became really expensive, it became an option, a sort of £100 option actually. So yeah, RB300 tungsten counterweight. It's got a little gold ring cartridge on it. Fully serviced. There is a lid, which is somewhere else. So if you're interested in that, I think I've got it at £300 at the moment. Only collection from the shop though, because I haven't got a box. But yeah, that's there. Might as well mention it while we're looking at it. Hope this is helpful. Just turn the camera around. Yeah, hope that's helpful. I like doing these little sort of instructional things because yeah, I get a lot of feedback from people who've solved problems themselves and not had to cart the deck into a dealer or not had to scrap it, because I've had people say I was going to scrap it and it's just a simple thing. So yeah, hope it's helpful for people. I'll stop it there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in a future video. And I'm still promising to do the sort of the cozy chat things with amplifier speakers, whatever. It's just finding the time. Really is just finding the time. I'd even thought about setting the camera up in the car when I'm driving up to some customers tonight. See if we can do it on the go in the car, but I don't know. It sounds a bit like an accident waiting to happen, really. Anyway, I'll stop there. Thanks for watching. See you soon.